Hey everyone, welcome back to RJK English, or we should say RJK Hindi. We are going through my book, or basically how to learn Hindi script. You can look at this if you're interested. You can go through all of these videos, and it's going to basically teach you everything that's in the book. But if you want the book, it looks like this. It is on Amazon as a Kindle, so you'd have it on your. How am I doing this? There we go. You'd have it on Kindle. You can get it on Amazon under my name, Alexander Rediger, or you saw. It's also in the description. So also, before I start, I'm doing all of this for free. It would really help me out if you recommend me to someone, and if you hit like and subscribe. That will help other people to see my videos. And comment. If you have any comments, I will answer. And you can also go to RJK English. You see my name below, RJK English, on Facebook, and we can talk there as well. All right. So we've learned about all of the all of the vowels. A, e, u, e, o, a. We learned all of the consonants. Now we're going to move on to, we learned all of the vowels. Now we're going to move on to consonants. Here is where Hindi, as well as any language that comes from Sanskrit, and this includes Urdu as well, because Urdu is set up to in the way that Hindi is. It's genius. I'm just going to be honest. It's very genius. It's set up based on where in the mouth you make the sound. It's also set up where you make the sound. That's what we're going to talk about today. I also want to mention one other thing, that Hindi has aspiration. I don't mean that it wants to be great. It has aspiration to do. No, I mean this. Okay? Have you ever noticed when you learn Dutch or Spanish that they don't say the T's like this? T, t. We say t a lot when we make the T. But they would go more like da, da, da. It's very soft. One, it's dental, da. But it's also, they're not pushing out as much. This is aspiration, aspirating. We in English aspirate a lot, and it doesn't matter whether we aspirate a lot or a little, it's the same sound. In Hindi, it does matter. Ba versus bha, two different sounds. Ba, bha, two different sounds. And they mean different things. So bai, I think often can mean prostitute. And don't take this too seriously. This is an old word, bai. But bhai means brother. So just that B sound with the aspiration can mean something different. Don't get freaked out about that. Just know that. But let's cover the different parts of the mouth that the consonants are going to come from. And let's give a hats off to the old Sanskrit scholar, and it starts with a P, and I can't think of his name. He came up with the system. He was probably the first linguist, the first system for how a language works, and hats off to him. Okay, so first would be guttural sounds. So here's the glottis. You see that this is the side of the head if you cut my head in half, right? Here's the tongue. Here's the teeth, the lips. Here's the uvula. And your voice box is down here. Okay? All of these parts are very important to making our sounds. I'll give you an example. How do we make a nasal sound? Do you know where the air is going when I do that? I am stopping the air from going in here by putting my tongue like this so that the air can't come in. But I'm also, my uvula is going against, the uvula is opening up so that the air can go through my nose. That's why I can do an forever, because the air is going out my nose. I can't do a D for a long time. Why? Because I'm stuck. Well, let's do B. B. For a B, this uvula goes against here and keeps air from going out my nose. It's not a nasal. It keeps air from going out my nose. You can actually feel it when you do B. You'll feel a part in the back of your mouth go blip. It'll just pop up, and it's blocking the air from coming out your nose. When I do a B, I can't do that forever because it's voiced and the air is coming through, and I go, the air keeps building up in my mouth because I'm letting air through so that my voice vocal cords can activate. I'm letting them go through, but that also means air is going through. So a B, I can't hold that, but a nasal I can, because the air is going all the way through, right? So the gutturals, we're going to start with the gutturals. I'm sorry, I'm giving you ideas for how the different parts work. We can also have the back of the tongue touch back here. That's a guttural if you know from German or Scottish, loch. This uvula can also be used, not in Hindi. The trill of German, rot, rot. This is this uvula trilling just like I can with my tongue. I can also rot, rot. Maybe you remember He-Man. There was the guy from the ocean, and he talked like this, He-Man. That's with our uvula, that little hanging down guy, and the back of our throat. So moving from the pharyngeal and the glottal, past the uvula, because we're not really using this for Hindi, to the velar. This is where we make the G and the K. G, K. Think about where your tongue is touching. It's touching right here, right? The back of your tongue is touching up here. That's the velar area. The velar, why is it called the velum? What do we think of when we think of velvet? It's soft, right? So feel with your tongue the top of your mouth. You can feel the plate of your mouth. And then right behind it, it becomes soft. That's the velum, right here. The velar area, that's where you make your K, G. And that's also where you go ng for ing. I'm walking. That's where I do that ng. Moving forward, I have the palate, the hard plate in my mouth. This I use in Hindi right here. So let's start with English. For English, our T's and D's are all right behind the teeth. It's called the alveolar ridge, right behind the teeth. I go ta, da, na, la, right behind here. That's where all of my T's and D's are. In Hindi, they're not here. They're in two different places. They're either here, that's called the retroflex sound, and this is the sound that you know of India, of all of South Asia. Da, ta, da, na, ra, ra. It's my tongue is touching behind here to the hard palate, and it gives it. It's the very hard sound in Hindi. That is that retroflex sound. That is the sound for Hindi speakers that gets associated with English T's and D's. That's the place. They do it here, we do it here, because they don't have this spot in Hindi. The other, if we move forward, is the dental. This is when you think of the soft T's and D's of Spanish. Da, 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 da. When someone says that I'm Latino, I think it's Latinx now, but someone will be talking in English but they're a Spanish speaker, and they'll be like, I'm really Latino, and you're like, what the hell is that? It's because they have a dental T. instead of, and it gives it a softer sound. That's the other sound of Hindi. We have dental sounds. They don't have interdental like we have, like and they don't have this in Hindi. But they have the dental, where the tongue is like this, and where we'd say the blade of the tongue is touching the teeth, and they have the other where the tip of the tongue is touching this palate area, and it's called the retroflex. So we've moved through the whole mouth. If we think of the tongue, we have the root of the tongue. That might be for when I go, if I want to touch the root, that would be hard. We have the back of the tongue that touches for the ha or the ga. We have the front of the tongue. The front of the tongue is used when I go ing. I also touch more to the palate, like right here. The blade of the tongue goes here for dentals. Ta, da, ta. And the tip would be used on the palate here, and also for L's. So that's how the mouth works in Hindi. I wanted to go over that. Next time we're going to review. We're going to start with, let's see, what are we starting with? I think we're going to start with the guttural sounds. Okay, so that's an overview of the mouth. We're going to use that next time. See you.